Hi everybody. It's Metal Monday today. I wasn't quite sure I was going to do this, but we're at the last week of GARBAUGUST, and I do still have another book that I want to finish and review before the end of the month. But today I wanted to talk about. First, I wanted to give a shout out to former contact that I had in the horror community. His name's Alex Johnson, and I was saddened to find out this week that he had disappeared from social media, and I just thought he was taking a break. I knew he was going through a rough patch because he hadn't worked in a while. But I was saddened to hear this week that unfortunately he's been in the hospital for some time with suffering from severe dementia. So, Alex, as someone who is a great purveyor of trash yourself, I wanted to give you a little shout out and to wish you the best and your family. And I hope when it comes, I hope that it's swift and it's peaceful, and I hope that you're out of pain. So I just wanted to talk about Alex Johnson and just a little bit about about the two things that we were able to collaborate on. Now, the first of these was this being Metal Monday. It was an anthology called Axes of Evil. Okay, check this out. That is one of the most gloriously trashy covers ever. The artwork is by an artist by the name of Stephen Cooney. I believe, was that his name? Stephen Cooney? I think, let me just double check. Cooney. So this came out in 2014. And just a word on the cover art too. He's an old school artist. He actually he paints these glorious landscapes. There are a few more out there. He's another one that I haven't heard from in some time. I'm not sure if he's still doing the cover thing or what he's doing. But Axes of Evil was an anthology that I was part of, and it was all of the stories were metal themed horror stories. So as I've said before, metal and horror just go together like peanut butter and jelly, or like black leather and studs, right? So that was the first collaboration. And the other collaboration, just before Leonard Cohen passed, Alex got the idea of putting out a collection that would be a tribute to Leonard Cohen, and I had the tremendous pleasure of editing it. So again, here's and that was a photo by one of our authors, and it was a lot to put together, but I was really pleased and proud with the results. And I had the pleasure of working with some absolutely wonderful authors, and it also ended up being one of the last stories from Joe Pulver. So I don't know if anybody out there knows of Joe Pulver, but he wrote a lot of sci-fi fantasy kind of stuff. So back to Alex. He published these two books. There were some politics around working with him. I never had a problem with him, and I always found that the people that were the most negative ended up being problematic themselves. So I was kind of never knew where to stand in the drama, so I just stayed out of it. So we did have these two collaborations. I never had a problem with them. But the reason I wanted to talk about his work was that he did a lot of actually his kind of biggest claim to fame was he was the author of one of the Friday the 13th novelizations. I think it was Jason X, something like New Moon or something. Just yet another one of those tremendously trashy novelizations. Oh, Jason X Death Moon, that was it. So I am not sure. I think that, well, I guess it would be the 10th, Friday the 13th. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, and unfortunately it's out of print, so I can't even read it and review it for you. All right, so I looked through some of Alex's work, and he was an author of horror, bizarro, and erotica. Now, that was another reason I kind of wanted to talk about his work today, or at least the story that I read, was that through GARBAUGUST, I've been following some of the creators who have been participating in it. I've been participating in it myself. Now, as a horror fan, I've said I don't have a good metric for what's considered good and what's considered trashy. I know that some horror is better than other horror. There are some who would think that all horror is trash, which, is perfectly valid. But I also think that some horror is inherently better than other horror as well. Sorry about that. My nose is dripping. But one thing that I noticed most of the creators who talked about GARBAUGUST, most of them were talking about traditionally published books. And there was very little talk about the breadth, the tremendous amount of micropress, bizarro, small press horror fiction that's out there. Sorry about that. So we were talking about small press horror. I don't want to disparage it, but I know that there are a lot of people that wouldn't even waste their time on it. I find that there's varying levels of, I think there's varying levels of quality. Some of it's good, some of it's terrible, some of it's great. I think a lot of it is also gloriously trashy. And that's what we're going to look at today. So today I went out on a limb, and this being, of course, so today I went and I read Alex's story. It was called Razor Girls, the Blakk Chronicles. And so first of all, we've got this cover. I just want to show it to you. So there's the cover. And I mean, you just know you're in for some wonderful trash. And yeah, it doesn't disappoint. It's the story of a young woman named Monica who hangs out at an S&M metal sex club with her twin sister Susie, and they basically have sex with nasty guys for drugs and for money. And one night, limo pulls up, and inside the limo is the front man for a metal band, and the man's name is Razor Blakk, Blakk, Lord of the Underground. And he's the shrieking vox of a band called Godhammer. Yes. And then basically all they do is she goes back to a mansion, to a party. She gets held down and plugged from every hole, doesn't get her drugs, goes and finds Razor Blakk, gets her drugs, and then he keels over. And for some reason, her sister's been hiding under the bed the whole time. And then it gets weirder. Sorry again. So yeah, it was kind of silly. I mean, and then there's a little sort of short follow-up where we find out what happened to Razor Blakk, and somehow he managed to survive the shenanigans. And then he goes and he puts on a concert in Trump land and brings a pipe bomb to the concert, and I guess everybody blows up at the end. I mean, yeah, it was okay. It was, you do spend a lot of time kind of going, what the hell? So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 trash cans. It's trashy. The cover is just, it's pure sleaze. The story is pure sleaze. And a whole lot of the just his work. Here's I'm just going to show you some of his these great. So there's Memento Mori, which was put out by James Ward Kirk, who is an Indiana-based small press sword and sorcery anthology. Ladies and Gentlemen of Horror. Like these covers are something else. Like that. What even is that? Infernal Ink. Horrorcore. Norbert Gore. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I mean, there's this. Here's the one that I could not bring myself to read. I couldn't. It is called a Barf Zorro anthology. I mean, and the Floppy Shoes Apocalypse. So I mean, this is sort of the bottom tier of horror, and it's written to be strange and to make you scratch your head and go, what the hell? What the fuck? What is going on here? So, but there is a lot of content put out there. And I'm sure that somebody smarter than me or more analytical than I am about literature would somehow be able to put it in its place. I mean, you have Carnivalism and Backton and all of those guys that I could probably apply, but I'm just not good at that stuff. So I appreciate it for what it is. It's a celebration of the gross out, the trash, the completely strange things. And somebody put their hand to it, and somebody wrote it down, and somebody put it out and published it. So we don't talk very much about that. Even in GARBAUGUST, we haven't quite plumbed the depths of these strange horror collections. But I did want to just kind of touch on it and to just, give a shout out to Alex. Wherever you are, man, I hope you're doing okay. And if anybody's out there, I'm not sure if there's some place you can make a donation, maybe Alzheimer's Society. The proceeds to Anthem were going to the Red Cross. So if you want to make a donation to the Red Cross, I'm sure that would be appreciated. That's all I got to say about Metal Monday number 2, Alex Johnson, Razor Girls, the Blakk Chronicles. Hope you're reading lots of great horror. Hope you're not too grossed out. Have a great day.